Okay, let's start with what is your name and where are you from?
My name is THADEUS, and I live here in New York.
Okay, now let me ask you some New York questions
The
then.
camera angle's off.
Oh, it's off? Alright, thanks. Okay, now, can you do a New York accent?
I don't think I can. I can do like a southern accent, but
Oh, you could do a southern accent? Let's hear that
hey,
one.
y'all, we're gonna go skip some rocks and jump off the bridge. Maybe we'll go do some cow tipping later.
Okay, sounds good, sounds good. Now, do you know any New Yorkers who have left and where are they going?
Yes, I know a lot of New Yorkers who have left.
Uh-huh.
They've gone to all these tropical locations.
Yeah.
Uh, Puerto Rico, Costa
Uh-huh.
Rica, Bali, Tulum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people that I know have gone to these areas like that.
It makes you want to be in places like that when it's cold like this.
It does. It does.
All right, now, I've heard some people going to Maine. I'm like, Maine, isn't that a bit cold? All right, now, could you tell us the difference between Manhattan and the outer boroughs?
Manhattan is more commercial than the outer boroughs. Manhattan versus Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn has a diversity as a whole, but Manhattan has more diversity, I think, like in like one area. It seems like you're more likely to hear a couple of languages spoke in one area in Manhattan, like within a few streets in Manhattan, than you are in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But as a whole, Brooklyn is obviously, has a ton of diversity. Within the other boroughs, I don't spend a lot of time in the other boroughs, so I really can't speak to those.
Okay. All right, now, if you could time travel, what era would you go to?
40s.
Why the 40s?
The 40s had enough technology to make life better, but not so much that it inhibited life like it seems to continue. Like 40s was before like TV came out. Before like TVs were like a normal thing in households. So
Is it a more innocent time?
more I don't know, innocent. I would say more pure, like pure in terms of human connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. And like in the 40s there were movie theaters, so it was like an event to go to the movie. Whereas in the 50s it just started kind of becoming a normal everyday thing for people to just watch TV. And before the 50s, when TVs were normal, you couldn't relax and be entertained at the same time very easily. Now you could do that in a theater or whatever, and you could do that even listening to radio, but even that was different. Once we were able to like sit down and watch TV and be relaxed and be entertained at the same time, I think that changed things. And so, yeah, I would love to live in the 40s before that was normal.
So you think we took a turn for the worse after the 40s?
I didn't say that. I
No?
didn't say a turn for the worse. I'm just saying that there was a purity there that I would have liked to explore.
Did you think that we became even more impure after the internet came out? Because that was another major turning point.
It is another turning point. Do I think that we become more unpure? I don't know if I would say unpure. There's some, there's like 20% of that word that I think could allude to the internet, the influence of the internet, but I would not say entirely unpure.
Okay, now if you could redo any part of your life, what would it be?
Nothing.
So you keep things the way they are.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Yeah. So what are your strengths and weaknesses?
Man, my weaknesses are I'm disorganized. My brain doesn't want to organize things in a way that I wish it would, But my strengths are I'm very creative. I can. I think that there's two different sides of the same coin in many ways.
All right, now if you had a trust fund of $5,000 a month,
Yeah.
would you still work,
Uh,
or would you just live off that money?
I would just create. I would just make stuff. I would just make videos and make all kinds of things.
Oh, do you make videos now or no?
Yes.
Oh, do you want to tell us about that?
I had it. I have a series on YouTube where I ask people questions on the street. But I don't want to get into. I don't want to put it out there as to what it is. I'm still working on it.
Oh, it's a work in progress.
I mean, it's a thing for
It's
sure.
a thing already?
But
You got a lot of followers?
no,
Okay.
not yet.
Now, where were you coming from before you came to this park?
I was in Hoboken. I was over there. I went over there this morning. A friend of mine is taking boxing lessons, and today he had like a sparring match, and so some friends went over there to kind of support him. So I was over there helping. I mean, I was over there just kind of like watching him spar.
It's really trendy out there these days, isn't it? Hoboken?
Is it? I don't know. It's only the
I got
second
that
time I've been
feeling.
over there.
Yeah. All right, now where are you going once you leave this park?
I'm gonna wander back to Lower East Side where I live, take some photos and some videos along the way.
All right, cool. Now, if you weren't in New York, where would you be? If you didn't live in New York?
I don't know. Maybe LA,
LA?
maybe Denver.
Uh-huh.
One of
Those
those
are
two.
very different places.
They are. Yeah, I've got roots in Denver,
Oh,
so
do you really?
that's the only reason I would move back there.
Nice skiing out there?
Yeah, great skiing, great outdoor life.
Uh-huh. Cool. All right, now, what are some good places to film videos like this in New York?
I think anywhere that there's tourists like this, it's nice. Yeah, Times Square, this is nice. I've found that there's a certain temperature. When it's below a certain temperature, people don't like to talk as much. They're not as inclined. But
Oh,
it's not
definitely.
windy today.
Yeah.
So it's windy, not windy, it's sunny out. So it's a good day to talk to people. But New York is like, being out in public in New York is all about the spectacle and the spectators.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in areas like this, people are more inclined to jump from being the spectator to being the spectacle, like I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Man, you're all over the place. I like it.
I
5
just
years from now.
write them down as I think about them.
Yeah. 5 years from now, I see myself. I don't know, man.
Still here in New York?
Still here in New York. Yeah.
What were you doing during the lockdown of March and April when everything was shut down?
I was filming. I was
On the streets?
Yeah, me and a friend would go out every Friday night. We would take a long ass walk, and we'd be throwing frisbee in the middle of Broadway, in the middle of Times Square. We were at Times Square one time when we counted 12 people.
Yeah.
We sat in Times Square and ate cheeseburgers from McDonald's with 12 people.
That's awesome.
That was a memorable moment.
Cool. Now, what kind of questions would you ask if you were doing interviews like this?
I would ask questions that are very human, nuanced questions that reveal bigger things. But I'm not going to give away my secrets.
All right. Now, did you want to? I know you didn't want to talk about your channel, but would you like to talk about your most successful content?
No, it's okay.
All right. Now, what kind of websites do you use?
What kind of what?
Websites.
Do what?
Like what would you have on your like bookmarks or favorites?
On my favorites, I have a bunch of things that I'm trying to learn, like online classes,
Yeah.
things that I don't want to have to dig for at the last minute. I've also got, what else do I have in my bookmarks? I've got a reverse phone number search on my bookmarks.
Oh yeah. Look people up.
And when I get like a weird call, I'm like, is this, do I know this number? I thought I knew this number, but so
Find out a little bit more about them.
yeah. It's good for a little research. I got. What else do I have on my marks? Yeah, I don't know anything else that's super interesting.
All right, next question. Who do you follow?
Um, I follow people who I have two ends of the spectrum that I follow. Like I got friends, of course, that I follow, but beyond that, I'm usually following people who are positive without being cheesy. Because when it's cheesy positive, it's like I can't get into that. And then I also follow people who are that really disagree with me, or that I don't necessarily resonate with their opinion, but I'm like trying to understand. Like I follow a couple pages that are all about. I'm more left leaning, but kind of center, but that are all about the right.
The far right kind of.
Far right, and I follow some far left stuff too. Both of those kind of piss me off. So
You're somewhere in between.
I'll follow them, yeah, to kind of see what the comments are saying, like what, trying to understand what the reality is of these people. You know, I guess it's a way to try to empathize to some degree with the way that other people think and not try to judge it. But
Yeah.
it does piss me off inherently, but I try to watch it. I try to take that stuff in with a grain of salt, knowing that people's realities are different.
What do you think about some of the political extremists who come here from time to time? Because there's a lot of them that do come here.
I think that they're bored and they need a distraction with life. I think that.
All right, if I were to give you 3 wishes, what would it be?
I'm curious, how is that question done in general?
3 wishes? Well, a lot of people will say, give me 1,000 more wishes.
Yeah, I feel like that. You were asking me earlier, what kind of questions do I ask? I try not to ask questions like that because that is a great question if you're thinking about it for like 3 days. But thinking about it for 30 seconds, for me, it's a difficult. I don't.
Okay. Now skip any questions you want to skip.
I'm not saying I want to skip it, but you're just asking, oh man, how beautiful is that?
Okay, do you have any special talents?
Let me see here, special talents. I would say I'm like pretty good at most sports. So it's not like one sport I'm good at, but I'm like I can hang and like
All right, now what kind of videos do you watch?
10 sports. Videos I watch like videos where I'm trying to learn about stuff. I watch videos. I like short TV programs. Short TV programs, little 20-minute something like Schitt's Creek. I like stuff that's light, but I also like some stuff that's. What I don't like is like when they. I won't get into that, but yeah.
Now you said you make videos. What is like some tips you have for doing the audio correctly?
Get a lapel mic. They're like $15 and it'll completely change your audio. You can get 2 of them and plug them in, and like you have this cord you can snap to onto people, and it's going to give you such better audio. That, or you can use a shotgun mic, but in a situation like this where there's going to be people playing music and stuff, I would just get a couple of lapel mics. It's so cheap and it's going to make your audio game go up significantly.
Sounds good. All right, have you had any game changers in your life? Anything that would change the way you live your life?
I had a game changer that kind of got me into video when I made videos when I lived in Denver, and I made one video for somebody and it went viral. And then after that, people started calling me, like an NBA team called me within 2 months to see if I could make a video for them.
Really?
And so that was like a trajectory shift for my life. So after that, it was like I did video, like I was a video person. And so that was, that was definitely that was a life.
That's definitely a big game changer. One of the biggest ones on here. All right, now how important is marriage to you?
Not. It's not important.
How about ancestry? Because a lot of people are doing DNA tests now to find out where they're originally from. How important is that to you?
Not. I mean, I think it's cool for the sake of personal understanding, but I think it's silly to. I think that it just becomes another thing that people want to weaponize. That they want to weaponize their ancestry to make themselves feel better about being not white, being. And I think that stuff is cool. I think it's really awesome to have to know your roots, but and to respect those roots and to acknowledge those roots. But I think that I don't think that people. I don't think that the surge in seeking out what your roots are is necessarily rooted in curiosity about wanting to know that as much as wanting to weaponize it and like have that as like a I'm this or I'm that. I think it's just a bogus. That aspect of it is bogus.
All right, now what apps do you use on your phone?
What apps do I use? I use Instagram. I use a game called Word Match or something like that, where it's like there's a bunch of words on the screen and you have to match the two that go together. It's like an association game to just like kind of keep your mind sharp. It's similar to like a crossword puzzle where you're just trying to like jog your memory about what a word means and kind of how it relates to something. What else do I use? I use Insight Timer every day for meditation. It's a good way to gamify your meditation because I start to see how many days in a row I've had or how many minutes that I've done, and it just makes me feel a sense of momentum and wanting to keep doing it. But not for the sake of showing that to other people, but more for the sake of just like this is a gives you some self understanding of how much time you've been putting in.
Okay. Do you come to this park often?
Say that again?
Do you come to this park often?
I probably come here once a week.
Once a week? What is the strangest thing you've seen or heard here in this park?
I don't know, man. I don't have an answer for that. I haven't seen a lot of strange things in this park, actually. I've seen some beautiful things.
What's the most beautiful thing you've seen then?
I mean, right now, just this guy over here playing guitar, this black dude with
I've seen him many times.
His hair, the contrast of he's a black dude with this white hair, like he's an older gentleman, and it's beautiful. It's like a really nice look. He's holding a guitar, just like, there's a lot of movie characters, I think, in New York City in general, but specifically in Washington Square Park. People just look good, man. They're looking fresh, looking fly. You got World Trade here. Is that World Trade? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a beautiful. Before I moved to New York, I would come here and just kind of dream. I came here one time and it was raining, and I was sitting in that back corner over there, and there was this girl who was riding underneath of a multicolored umbrella. It was like a rainbow umbrella. Each different quadrant or whatever on the umbrella had a different color. And it was just dark and gray and gloomy. And she was riding under this, and so I shot a picture from behind her. And it was just so beautiful. Like, it was just like she was having this moment. And under this colored umbrella in this gray area. And it was just, I don't know. Washington Square Park is always beautiful to me. So yeah, I wouldn't lean towards anything weird or strange things I've seen here, but I've seen a lot of beauty.
Do you have any advice for people who want to move to New York?
Let's see here. All up in my grill. Yes, I do. I would say be mindful of how much, Well, I guess it depends on why you're moving here. But for people who are moving here because they want to do something, I would say be mindful of how easy it is to just have fun all the time. It is hard to turn, like, this is just a fun city. And so if you move here to do something, this idea of doing something you can end up always like, okay, soon, I want to start that next weekend. And then another party comes up, or another, like, people want to go out to dinner, people want to go sit in the park. They're like, this is a very stimulating city. And that's something I knew about when I came here, but I didn't know how hard it would be to focus on doing what you really love. It's a great place to get into doing things that you really love, but it's also, there's so many distractions that are beautiful. They're beautiful distractions, but sometimes it can be hard to focus on, what maybe brought you here. But maybe what's bringing people here is just to have fun, and that's fine too. But I would say that, just be mindful of those distractions.
What would you say are some of the things that brought you to New York?
Curiosity, reality. I think there are a few places in the world that offer such a accurate depiction of reality as New York does. It feels like a front row seat of observing humanity. And I would say that's what brought me here. It's like I wanted to be on the front row and just see how things are unfolding, get a real sense of how things are. Kind of see what things are like on the front row, just watching humanity unfold.
All right, now how are we doing on time here? We're at 21 minutes now.
21 minutes. You're asking good questions.
Keep going?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, do you speak any foreign languages?
A little bit of Spanish and a little bit of Italian.
You want to say anything in either one of those languages?
Sure. Che cosa vuoi fare questa sera? It means, what are you doing tonight in Italian? But my favorite Italian phrase is la dolce fa niente, which means the sweetness of doing nothing. I spent a lot of time in southern Italy on the Amalfi Coast, and in southern Italy there's a phrase there, la dolce fa niente, which means the sweetness of doing nothing, but it's like the way that Italians do nothing. They like doing nothing in the U.S. We like, let's watch some Netflix or something, and in Italy it's like, let's go get some coffee, let's go get a couple of espressos, sit on a park bench and watch the world go by. Just shoot the shit with somebody. It's void of technology. It's void of, it's almost, my understanding was like, it just felt like doing nothing with someone. You just kind of hanging out with good people, watching the world go by in some capacity, but without technology. I like technology, but
Now, do you have any dating advice for people who want to date in New York?
What kind of dating? Trying to hook up, or you trying to find somebody like to spend some time with?
Just, I guess, meeting people that you might be interested in.
Yes.
Because I think New York is a kind of a city where a lot of people they want you to mind your own business. They don't want you to get into their business. So you got any advice for people who are just trying to meet new people?
Yes, I would say there's a quote or a phrase, I forget who it is, that sings this. It says, rocket ships don't have rear view mirrors. I think it kind of relates to dating, and like, I think that when you're dating, you just gotta, it can be challenging to be yourself in many capacities. You're trying to, when you're dating, you're on these apps and you're like texting people, and you're like, what should I say, or what should I do? And same thing when you're in person. You meet some people sometimes and you think that you may not know what to say. But I think that in dating in general, it's best to just be yourself. Know you're gonna fuck up, and that people are gonna think you may be strange. You didn't handle that situation right, but to not look back, because I think the looking back it perpetuates the idea that you didn't you're trying to be yourself. So I would just say, be yourself. Don't look back like somebody, doesn't respond, or if somebody doesn't like you or whatever. Don't dwell on that. Just keep moving forward. Be willing to fail, and just be yourself, and own that.
Now, impersonations, can you do any?
Impersonations. I don't think I got any impersonations.
All right, businesses. We live in a consumerist society. How do you know you can trust a business?
Consumerist society. How do you know you can trust a business? That's a great question.
Because there's a lot of businesses who, I don't know, I guess they shouldn't even be in business. But then, the good ones are really hard to find, and a lot of us have to go through a lot of the bad ones to get to the good ones. So, what are some signs you look for when it comes to a business that's trustworthy?
Businesses that are trustworthy.
Because sometimes you look at a guy and you hire him to do a job, and he does a bad job, and then you look back and you say, oh, I should have known that. He gave me like this kind of body language. He didn't pick up his phone very quickly, or he sounded like he was hiding something from me, or anything like that. Or sometimes when I find a good business, I'm like, I saw all the signs lining up as soon as I walked into the store, and they were more helpful towards me, and they weren't pushy. Or
That's a great question. I don't have an answer for right now. Like I have a feeling, but I can't really articulate that feeling right now.
Okay, next question. Nature versus nurture. What's more important?
Nurture.
Nurture?
Yeah. I mean, nature is like we're just all dealt a hand. Can't do anything about it. I don't see what's the point of focusing on that. I think we just all got to roll with the best, roll with what we got. Life isn't about what hand you're dealt, but as much as it is how you play that hand.
So your upbringing and your environment plays a big role.
It does, but also, what you're doing with that. And I don't think we're locked into how we were brought up. I think that a lot of times, that's an aspect of nurture that I think that we don't realize how much control we have over it. It's kind of like that metaphor of like the baby elephant that's tied to a stake at the circus when he's a baby. And he obviously can't pull that stake out, and by the time he's an adult elephant, he can rip that stake out no problem. He doesn't do it, or she doesn't do it. They don't do it, y'all, whatever, because he doesn't know his own power. I think that we're fooled into believing that that we only have certain options through nurture. I think we can become anybody we want to.
Okay, tattoos. Have you got any?
Nope, I'm a blank canvas.
What is your biggest accomplishment in life?
Oh man, I would say I would say finding happiness. I've had a lot of things that I wrestle with that I haven't always been happy, and I would say that being happy, choosing happiness, and making the conscious decision on a daily basis is probably my biggest accomplishment.
How long did it take you?
40 years.
So it's not something that comes quick.
No, I mean it didn't for me. Some people find that at a young age and kind of find their breadcrumbs to understand that, and some people never find it. But for me, the hand I was dealt, it took me 40 years to figure it out. 40 plus years.
All right, now what would you want to name this video? If people were to search for this online.
I would call it bad audio interviews. So then people know what to expect before they watch it.
Okay, now, you want to plug any social media?
Nah, that's all right.
Oh, you want to go into dating questions?
Sure, give me some dating questions.
Okay, how important is it the way you dress when you're out there meeting potential lovers?
I would say that it's the way you dress is important and how it makes you feel. You don't feel good wearing something, then I don't think that it's going to present your best self. But if I think it matters very little for the person that you're dating. Because if they don't like your outfit, then
What about the first impression, though?
What's that?
What about the first impression when it comes to the way you dress?
I mean, I think the first impressions are overrated. People always say that. Somebody makes a decision who you are or whether they're going to sleep with you in the first 6 seconds, and I think that may be generally true, but that may be true for like simple people, but I think that complex people have, they're dynamic, they got many layers, and so it can take a while to get to know somebody. Something that you thought was a turnoff before may, after you get to know somebody a little bit, it may contextualize that, and that may be a turn on. It's like, maybe, I think that stuff holds too much value. I think it's most important just how it makes you feel. If it gives you swagger, then that's great.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on men approaching women in public spaces like this?
I think it's great. I think it's great to approach people in person for any reason, whether it's dating or whether it's just like I like your vibe, or whether it's I think that talking to people in person is a lost art. So, but I think that it should be normalized that for women to approach men too. And I think the objective is to have, I don't know why we're so tied to this idea that men have to approach women. And some people are not like that. Some folks aren't like that. But I think in looking at the objective, there's a lot of people who want to be in relationships, and if we normalize women approaching men and a little bit more of that back and forth, I think it's going to create some empathy for knowing that it's not easy to approach somebody or to ask somebody out. I think it's going to create some understanding for why sometimes men may struggle to approach women. And so I think if that were normalized, it would create more relationships, which I think is ultimately just a good thing.
Now, you said people approaching other people is a lost art. What is some advice you have on how to approach someone?
I would say advice on how to approach someone is, I would say first is be curious. Lean into curiosity. People are fascinating. Human beings are fascinating. And I think that we're not. People aren't curious enough about what are people's lives like. Like this cat over here playing guitar, and he's got on these stonewashed jeans and these big ass boots. And he's had those boots for a while. I'm like, where did he get those boots? Where did the story of those boots start, and how does that intersect with where he's at now? So I would say first, just be curious, have humility. I think there's a lot of, not problem, but there's a lot of folks who, it can be harder to approach somebody who is not like us, whether you're white or black or man or woman or a they or whatever it is. I think that there can be some, people want to approach people who are different than themselves. So, you know, I would say you're trying to mitigate that feeling. Just be curious about people. When you're at the grocery store, you know, intentionally go to somebody who looks different than you. You know, and I think that fosters a curiosity. Sit down to people next to people on the subway instead of sitting down next to a white dude who, when I'm white, sit down next to you know, someone of another ethnicity or another, you know, anything that's different. Maybe somebody who's, you know, big or a tiny, you know, just like normalizing people who are different than us. So be curious and do your part to normalize being engaging with people who are different. I would say those are the two biggest tips I have off the top of my head.
All right, now say you see a woman that you like over there.
Yeah.
What kind of positive signals would she send you in order for you to approach her?
She'd be putting the vibe out. You know, she'd be like leaning on the fountain, putting her ass out and looking back at me like this. You know, like Dumb and Dumber style. Something like that. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Now, what are some, let's say you're checking her out, she's not feeling you. What are some negative signals that she'll send you to tell you, go away?
No eye contact, you know, no glancing. Or, you know, you can feel when when you're glancing at somebody and they're obviously trying to avoid your gaze, you know, turning their back. Yeah, that kind of thing, which is fine, you know, that's cool.
What are some good places to bring a date, either here or in Denver?
Good places to bring a date, here or in Denver. I mean, I think that this is a great place. Outdoor dates are hard right now. You know, I like to take photos, so I would say I just like to walk around the city with somebody. I think that walking dates are really fun. They're low pressure. You know, you can grab some coffee and take a walk, snap some photos along the way. You can, like, yeah, I would say right now, just taking a walk is probably the best kind of party. I mean, the best kind of date.
Okay, now, what are your thoughts on, or do you believe that opposites can attract?
Yeah, for sure.
So say like you're someone who likes staying up late and then the other person is someone who goes to bed early. You think that could actually work?
For sure. I mean, I think it's just, you know, even with, you know, when they say opposites attract, there's an underlying things that people have the same, you know, they feel the same about it. You know, maybe they want the same things in life, or they want this or want that. But there are certainly things like, you know, I would love to date somebody who's like super organized. And maybe they're not very creative, and it's like, you know, I like things that foster the idea of we, like a collective, like we're all kind of in this together. And I think that to some degree that is opposites attract. It's like we all bring different strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that, and being able to work with people. You know, I think the opposite attract is in some ways it's like collaboration. It's like, okay, cool, we have this goal of having a great life. What are you good at and what am I good at? Maybe some of those are opposite, and we're just gonna kind of make those work together. So,
because I had one woman come on here and say that if a man's gonna date me, he's gotta become friends with my friends. But I think there's a lot of guys out there who aren't trying to do that.
Yeah, I think that she's right, and I think that you're right too. It's like there are just different people. There's somebody out there who would love to play that role for her, and would love to get to know her friends. And then, you know, there's also guys who are like, no, that's not for me. And both of those are okay. I don't think that it's like a binary thing. I think it's like, it can be either way. I think it's
Okay, finally, do you want to give a shout out to anybody?
requests and dedications. Who do I want to give a shout out to? No, not really. Not really. I'm trying to think. Isaiah Seabury. Yeah, that's about it. I think it would be beneficial for us to collectively be mindful of our brain's tendency to gravitate towards that which is negative. Like, just like a relationship, like an intimate relationship between, you know, two people or three people, whatever. You know, relationships take work, and I think that relationships, even amongst humans, take work. And one of the things that takes work is us making effort to see what is common. Like we need to put in effort to see what we are. We need to try to see more through that lens than following our brain's tendency to want to separate ourselves. So I think it's great that you're doing this, man.
Thank
It's awesome.
you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to do a picture?